Hello everybody, and welcome to our third virtual field trip with Green Schools. So I'm so excited to be here today. My name is Faith, and I'm the Northern Engagement Officer for Green Schools Nova Scotia. And I have a feeling we have a few green heroes out there watching today. But if you don't know or you forget what Green Schools is, we're a program through Efficiency Nova Scotia. And their goal is just to help our province to lower our energy use and waste. Because being more efficient with our energy use is something we all have the power to do. And Efficiency Nova Scotia just makes that possible for all the grown-ups in our province. And for kids like you through programs like Green Schools. So today we're here at Trinity Energy Group. We're actually going to be talking to Dwaine, who's the founder here at Trinity Energy Group. We're going to ask him a couple questions about what it's like being an entrepreneur, especially in the green sector. So I guess we could start off by introducing yourself and what you do.
My name is Dwaine MacDonald. I'm the owner / president / CEO of Trinity.
So could you tell me a little bit more about Trinity Energy Group?
So Trinity Energy Group started 15 years ago. We started with the main emphasis of insulating houses and such like that. And through the years, we've grown from, we insulate residential houses now, we do commercial, all the big buildings you see going up in Halifax, we're working on all those. And now we do other things. We've expanded off that to start doing fireproofing and basically anything to do with a building. We go in and we deal with different aspects of that construction.
Cool, so you're a busy guy.
Yep, a little bit.
Awesome.
We're obviously doing something right. We're proud to say we're Trinity, we're an Efficiency Nova Scotia partner.
Our background is a lot of industrial work, energy efficiency. That's what we wanted to start educating people in.
We can go into somebody's house and tell them what's wrong and then fix it for them at the same time.
2 years after we really started doing it, it seemed like it just exploded.
How did you get into working with energy? Like what kind of education or background do you have?
So it started through my uncle when I was 16 because he owned a company before this, and he used to insulate houses and attics and houses. And he took me along with him and he trained me how to do attics and insulation when I was 16. And when I started Trinity, we were struggling, trying to find different things to do. So anybody that came to the door looking for work done, we were willing to do anything. But one night I was sitting in front of the computer and we seen a tender come out from an organization that used to be Conserve Nova Scotia.
The term tender refers to an invitation to bid for a project. To bid for a tender, your company would send them an estimate or a bid of how much it would cost to hire you or your business to do the work and complete the project on their behalf.
I wanted to do a test trial on 50 houses. So they put an application or a tender process out for us to price doing the attics and the basements and the walls of these 50 houses. So we priced it, didn't really know everything that I was doing at the time. But I took a whim and we priced it and we were successful and we won the first tender for 50 houses. And since then, that 50 houses, we've had that same tender every year now since for 15 years, basically. And we went from 50 houses a year and now we do 600 and 700 houses a year. So that Conserve Nova Scotia, that is where efficiency came from.
Right.
That was the first name, and then they redeveloped the organization and named it Efficiency.
Awesome.
Came from there.
So how did you know you wanted to start your own business, I guess? So how did you know you wanted to be an entrepreneur?
I wasn't very good at listening to people.
So be your own job. That's definitely a perk. You're a boss.
I was always somebody just very strong-willed, and I kind of always liked to do things my own way and such like that. So I worked for several businesses before I started on my own, and I could tell very early on that I wanted to work for myself because not that I didn't get along with people, but if I didn't agree with their ideas, it bothered me, and I knew I wanted to do it my way.
Right. So lots of kids out there that probably feel the same way.
Oh, absolutely.
So.
Grew up together on the farms and everything else, and that's where we learned how to put in a good day's work.
We fight and wrangle a little bit, but it doesn't last. 10 minutes later, it's over with, we're on to something else.
So what's a day in the life of the owner of Trinity like? What's your average day to day?
A lot of phone calls.
Okay.
It usually starts first thing in the morning with phone calls and ends with phone calls. But we have roughly about 120 people working for us now.
Okay.
So a lot of my life now is my different managers that look after different aspects of my business. I talk to them every day and I make see what problems they're having and how I can help, and how maybe different areas of the business cross over each other and how we can organize things better or work together better that way and such.
Keeping everything running smooth.
That's pretty much it. So if it's not phone calls, it's we do a lot of site visits for big construction jobs. So we have crews right now in Newfoundland and PEI and Cape Breton and Halifax and New Brunswick, and so there's a lot of people on the road every day. So there's just a lot of logistics even that way, making sure everybody's looked after. And even like if you can imagine like a day that there's a snowstorm in the Maritimes, it causes havoc.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
We're usually on the road somewhere out there, so we do a lot of pre-planning and what ifs if the weather does something to us, because we have to be prepared to be able to put our people in hotels or at least get them off the road so it's safe.
A lot of things to keep track of.
Yeah, very much. Sure. A lot of moving parts.
They are doing it. They're making us proud.
Yeah.
If Trinity wasn't here, I would most likely be out west, maybe in a fast food industry, flipping burgers or something to that effect.
Likely out west in Edmonton or Alberta working instead of at home where all my family is and my friends are.
For us to be able to build something like this and be able to keep 50, 60, 70 people going at home, I'm really proud of it. Just what we do to the local economy alone, like we have, 30-some vehicles on the road right now.
So to be an entrepreneur, do you actually need to have a business degree?
No, not at all.
Awesome.
I have a grade 12 education. I now put it this way. When I started, there wasn't as many courses that were developed back then for certain areas of construction. So my son just completed construction management technician out of the community college in Dartmouth.
Cool.
And I was helping him with homework one night, and I was going through what his course is all about. And it was exactly what I could have used 15 years ago. There was a whole bunch of stuff, different types of math and different types of way to figure out calculations that I had to find and figure out a way to do it myself that worked close enough. And then it was when I was going through his homework and that with him, I was starting to realize there's actually a calculation that tells you how to do that. So definitely nowadays with computers and technology and all that, the education is definitely stepping in to help in areas of that. But to be an entrepreneur, no, you don't. It's more what you have inside you and how you handle yourself and how you respect other people that takes you further in business than sometimes just actual education.
Right.
We love what we do. Changing people's lives, one house at a time. Sounds kind of corny, but that's the way I feel. It's satisfying.
Like I've literally had people call us crying. We figured out a way to keep them in their home. They can afford it and be comfortable. I think everybody as a society is going to have to start changing the way that they're thinking for us to be able to exist together or be able to afford to live. The next 5 years, it's going to boom. I mean, we're going to grow faster than we ever have as an industry as a whole. And that's only good news for Trinity as long as we keep up doing what we started out doing.
We never want to lose touch with our roots.
So our viewers might be interested in learning a little bit more about green careers out there. So what are some trades or other entry-level jobs that you guys offer here at Trinity? So
We have one program that we go in and exchange light bulbs, and we insulate people's hot water tanks and try to introduce energy efficient products to people's home. That's a program through Efficiency Nova Scotia. That one is very entry level. We had people that were in our programs that we were going in insulating their homes, and we found that they didn't have jobs, and we even hired customers of ours. So that kind of that's one avenue. Insulators. So there's various types of insulation that go into a residential house, but we could have blown in cellulose installers that do people's attics. We send people for certification for spray foam that do energy audits. So that is a very intricate course. They actually go into your home, and they'll set up blower door tests and that, and they'll actually test the home to see how leaky it is. Heat pump installers are very high demand right now.
You were at my house a couple weeks ago.
Awesome. Thank you. Along with heat pumps goes electricians. So we currently have quite a few electricians on staff working along with the heat pump and the technicians. But when you get into the big commercial buildings, you have a lot of engineers and architects that are designing these buildings. So they're trying to figure out the best way to build those that it's cost effective, but the most energy efficient that it can be. And we know nowadays that the more you build a building more energy efficient, it saves you money and people, it's healthier for people, and there's lots of benefits. Grows into, we have a fleet of 100 vehicles out there, so now we have a different division that just has our mechanics, and then with, yes, it's our vehicles, but we have a lot of specialized equipment to do this insulation and that. So you have to have mechanics on staff to do vehicles, but then also to do small engines and equipment and such like that. So there's all kinds.
You need lots of different
You
people
need
around.
lots of different kinds. Yeah.
So for some of those like entry level jobs, would you guys train them on site, or like what kind of training would they
Yes,
go?
there's entry level. We would take them in and give them hands-on training ourselves, and then depending on what we need from there, we may be sending them. Like I said, it might be to the community college in Dartmouth. I have people right now that are down in the States taking training.
Oh, cool.
We have people that go to Toronto for training. So it's all over that we end up sending them depending on what they need.
Awesome.
The material that we use to blow in is cellulose. It's 87% recycled newspaper. It's very environmentally friendly. We'll drill the test holes, so we'll find each cavity in the wall, and we'll put the hose in and blow it until it's dense packed and nice and full. We also have the crew that was also here today doing the spray foam in the basement. There's lots of styrofoam and sawdust and blown out cellulose onto the ground and things. So we like to make sure it's as clean, if not cleaner, when we leave as when we showed up. Basically, we want them to not know we were here.
It's been interesting to watch through the years, because when I started years ago, there was no support for this. And thankfully that is gone now. Society understands that we have to do something for the environment. We have to help. Governments are finally starting to get on board. I've never seen as much support as there is right now, and the deadlines that they're giving is 2030, 2050. So we have another 25 plus years before we even meet our targets that we're trying to meet. So, and by that time, it'll be an ingrained way of life. That this is how we build buildings. This is how we do this. As far as going away, no, to me, it's very secure. It's the best we've ever been. And, knock on wood, it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, seems like a pretty sustainable career.
Yeah,
So
very
more
much.
ways than one.
Yeah.
So our last question here we have. So this video is going to be broadcasted live to grade 6s and 12s all over Nova Scotia. So what would you say to one of those kids out there that might be thinking about getting into energy efficiency, becoming an entrepreneur?
Well, it's two kind of questions: the entrepreneur versus energy efficiency. The entrepreneur, I'd tell them to go for it. You're never going to know unless you try. I've had a lot of people in my life tell me that I wouldn't succeed because of either the lack of education or whatever, and I like to think I proved them wrong. I would be, as an entrepreneur, deep down inside, you get that feeling when you do something on your own and you're proud and it makes you feel like you did it. Until you try, you're not going to know. And there's nothing wrong with failing. There's all kinds of business leaders out there that failed 2, 3, 10 times before they got successful. So even if you tried something and you fail, don't give up, because there's all kinds of options out there for you. Anybody that wants to work hard and put the effort into it, they can succeed. Energy efficiency wise, now is the time to get into it. Like I said, it's never had the support from the government that it ever has. The society themselves, people out there, they want to see this now. They want to be comfortable in their home. They want to be able to afford their home. People are scared out there right now because of the cost and expense of fuel and all this. So it's only going to be something that keeps getting built on and built on. And if you go in there now and build an industry that people need you, it's ripe for the taking.
Right. Awesome. That's awesome advice for everyone out there.
Thank
So I'm sure some of the people out there are inspired by your words and maybe you're thinking about getting into green careers. Thank you for hanging out with me today and talking to me.
Oh, thank you very much for coming and asking. It's been a pleasure.
Well, thanks you everybody for watching our third virtual field trip here today with Trinity Energy Group and Dwaine. So hopefully some of you guys out there are feeling a little bit inspired to join a green career and a green trade. And if you are, you could tell your teacher to contact Green Schools, because we'd love to come to your classroom and talk a little bit more about green careers and energy efficiency. So now we can head over to our live Q&A with Dwaine. So if you have any questions for Dwaine, get those questions ready.